in podcast Detroit, recording live. Prepare yourself for a hoppy drive. If you're chilling at home, pop that crowler and just kick back for the next 2 hours. It's the end of the week, so here's to the weekend. It's Better on Draft with Rob, Matt, Nick, and Ken.
So hello, everyone.
Hey.
Thank you, Chris and Chad.
Okay. All right.
Third time's the charm.
Third
time's the charm.
That's right. 214 episode Better on Draft podcast.
214.3.
214.3, I guess. Yeah. My name is Ken. We are live. Again, we are not in studio. It is going to be May before we even get back into the studio. But again, we welcome Dan over in Arizona, who would not be able to do it if it weren't for this outbreak. So thanks, Outbreak. With that in mind, starting off with, I see Rob's coming in, but we'll start with Nick. Nick, how you doing? What are you drinking? And how's your week going?
My week's going good. Part 3, I've closed on a house today.
Woo! I didn't know that.
Yeah, we 2 closings. Sold the house and bought the house. Both closings on the same day.
Same day. That's what the person who we bought the house from did the same thing.
Yeah. But we just can't move into the new house for some time. At most 30 days. So we'll see. I am drinking, to start off, a Mikkeller Beer Geek, a Brunch Weasel. To start off.
What do you think of it?
Not bad, considering it's probably been sitting in my, old closet. I don't have the closet anymore, the beer closet anymore. It's actually not bad. It actually held pretty well, I think.
Good. And to my right, we got Dan. What's going on?
What's going on?
What are you drinking over there?
I've got a Hoppin' Frog extended barrel-aged Boris the Crusher.
Ooh,
stout.
I love Hoppin' Frog. Definitely one of the only times Hoppin' Frog's the only reason I ever showed up hungover to a job for work.
Yeah, it's worth it. This is one of the best barrel-aged stouts I've ever had. So
yeah,
take that for what it's worth.
I mean, the Hoppin' Frog, when we had Hoppin' Frog on to talk to them here in studio, in our Royal Oak studio, like their lowest ABV beers still blow my mind because their shandy's at 7%. And that's the lowest ABV. So it's a very, very...
So they know how to make beer.
Yeah, that's a very Better on Draft style company, to say the least. We got Wendy. Wendy, what's going on?
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to turn notifications off on my computer.
Well,
it's ringing in my ear.
That's fine. You are live. We're talking to you. What are you drinking over there?
I was lucky enough to get one of the lemon cream pies from Ascension's release yesterday.
Okay. What was the Ascension release yesterday?
They did lemon cream pie and BDE, their DDH Dippa. So I'm pretty excited. My beer fairy dropped it off. Thanks, Kathy.
All right. And what do you think of it right now?
The lemon cream is pretty decent, actually. It's a sour. It's got the tart, but it's still got the sweet, so it does taste like a lemon cream pie.
Awesome. And Robert, are you there?
Hey, there he is.
Oh my gosh. What are you wearing?
He is in the house. What is going on?
What are you wearing, dude?
I'm wearing this stylish coiffio going on right here.
Oh my gosh.
What's going on. Had to get the gel right, and I still can't get the gel right. I don't know. I don't know how y'all people do it.
What do you mean, you all people?
You. Yeah, what do you mean by you people?
I actually can't say that this time, so.
Pretty much one of the teams, as I was hosting virtual trivia last week, or actually this past Wednesday, was talking. We actually had a question about Hall & Oates, and it came up in the discussion about, there we go, that's better. It came up in the discussion about me dressing up as Hall during one of our trivia events at the Royal Oak Music Theater, and the teams were like, "Oh my God, when we get back to trivia, you got to bring the wig." And so I just, in between questions, I was able to run down and find it real quick, and just I turned the video off. I came back and it was like, "All right, question number 8," and everybody, I just saw the wig, and it just got a hilarity ensued after that. So that's I had to break it out. Right now, as far as what I'm drinking, I decided to start off with some whiskey. Got some for the culture, Brews Brothers, Mike Check, barrel of Buffalo Trace whiskey. So I'm sipping on this sucker first.
Oh, Rob's gonna be feeling good tonight.
Oh yeah, he is.
Assuming you're already not with that wig and all, but
oh shit, this thing is hot. This thing is all right. It's like I'm gonna go Erica Badu right there, just like it's gone.
Well, I'm drinking the Arbuckle Cold Brew from Midland Brewing right now, one of the competitors of March Draftness. Sadly, they did not win, but we do get to announce our winner. With one of the biggest vote totals we've ever had. I was kind of surprised because obviously locality-wise, they are literally the same area. But Baffin scoring a very small victory over Copper Hop by about 0.6%, so not even a full percentage point. The total vote tally was around 5,300 points, both of them getting at least 2,600 points.
Wow.
So Baffin will be winning. The person with the IPAs bracket will be getting a small little gift card to a brewery of their choice from those 64, as well as Summer's bracket is going to be getting a gift card to a brewery of their choice from someone on the bracket. We assume that they're probably going to be going to Baffin because they chose Baffin to be the winner, but that's just my guess. Nonetheless, when this COVID shit is done, we are going to be throwing a party at Baffin. We're going to be buying a keg. My guess is Mango Unchained. I don't know what gives me that idea.
Surprise, surprise.
And we'll be giving it away to everyone. If you guys are in the chat, feel free to say hello. Chris Przinski was the one that told me about the new audio. Thank you very much, Chris. Greg Feltner is in the chat. Mark Daniels, Cindy George.
Pound Michigan beer. Pound Michigan beer. What up, Mark?
Who's pounding Michigan beer? What's going on?
That's the another social media person from the west side of the state is Pound Michigan beer. I see Matt Bush is in the chat. I don't think he's chatted yet. I'm seeing a lot of other people in the chat, or at least watching. We got about 40 live listeners or so. We appreciate you all listening, enjoying, and going over and kind of taking a break from this shit. It has been a week to say the least.
Yeah,
ain't that the truth?
Brewers Association announced that they're expecting they were expecting about 4 to 5% of breweries to close just naturally, but with this whole COVID issue, they're looking at potentially 40+% breweries closing by the end of the year.
Wow.
Roughly, out of the people who responded to their brewing, they reached out to a bunch of brewers. About 500 responded, and I mean 500 out of 8,500 is a good chunk for a good amount. With that, they're saying about 12.7% or 12.8% won't be able to open for the next 1 to 3 months. So if this lasts pretty much any longer, you are going to the writing's on the wall right there.
Yeah.
I am hearing some side noises from somewhere. I don't
That's
know.
the television in the living room here.
Gotcha. So with that, I personally have been able to see a lot of these issues. I have seen the amount of money that has not been going to these restaurants because everyone's been staying home. Even with the amount of curbside pickup, the amount of deliveries, the amount of contactless, all of these other options. Restaurants are down about 80%. And that's restaurants as a whole. So that includes quick service, McDonald's, Buffalo Wild Wings, full service, nightclubs, bars, coffee shops, sandwich shops, a general 80% cut. So as a lot of you know who are friends of me, and I know a lot of people are friends via Facebook, I did lose, I was laid off from Toast earlier this week, which is why we were having Zoom issues earlier, because I don't have a Zoom anymore. But you know what? I understand why it happened. I understand what kind of company Toast is, and I have no ill will to Toast. Definitely go to rallyforrestaurants.com, buy gift cards, go to GoTipM.com. If you know anyone that is in the industry that is struggling and maybe needs a little bit of extra cash, they can put in their Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. Or if you want to donate to someone or someone random, you can just pick someone and be like, hey, you're in this random state or you're in my state. I don't know your name, but it's close enough to my name, maybe. I'm going to donate to you. So go to GoTipM.com, GoTipem. But yeah, this is getting very, very serious. Michigan has announced that it's going to be till the end of May, or beginning of May, excuse me, not end. Please don't panic.
Yep. Don't do that. Don't do
that. Dan, what's it like over in Arizona? What's the temperature?
It's about 75 today. It's a little cool.
I was referring to the temperature.
It's the same here. I think I was telling you, I don't remember if it was last weekend or when we were talking about it. It's becoming harder and harder to find places to order food from that aren't chains, that sort of thing. A lot more places have a lot limited hours, or they're just not opening up anymore. So it's just kind of becoming harder and harder to find anything out there. I know there's some breweries that aren't opening all the time, or if they do, it's very limited. They might not even have beer to sell you right now. Like there's a couple that are opening 2 or 3 hours a day, or they're only opening a couple hours like Friday, Saturday. So it's becoming harder and harder to get things on the regular.
I think a lot of people are still, so the industry as a whole is going up. The industry as a whole is definitely doing well, but that doesn't mean much. It's a lot of beer that is getting purchased at stores, liquor stores, grocery stores, whatever you want to say.
True, but now if we talked about that last week, wasn't the only thing actually bringing it up or the seltzer water?
Well, that was as a generality of the year.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like people are like Corona is still making money. Like Corona, even though they stopped making beer, I think in Mexico, which doesn't mean much because they don't make they make beer.
Here.
Yeah, they make beer in other countries.
Right.
So with these other companies, this is one of the times where, and in Michigan, and I don't know if the culture is the same necessarily in Arizona, but in Michigan, this is where you need to live and breathe the buy local, be local, do local. And I, as someone who is in the industry, I understand that these, you can say buy local. If your option is a chain, that's still okay to buy from a chain, because you know what? That's an employee who lives near you. That's a manager who lives near you. That's a dishwasher who lives near you. If you don't buy from them, you're still hurting your community no matter which way you do it. And I understand, buy the small and save the money, or buy big chain, save money. It's do what you can within your means. You don't go above and beyond that you need to. Obviously, you need to worry about yourself. Like for me, I'm gonna be fine. But like there's just so many things that you could do. Dan, do they have that? Like you've lived in Michigan for most of your life. Like is that a thing in Arizona? Like buy local, be local? Not the brewing portion, because everyone's really a homer to their own home brews. State brews.
For beer snobs, yeah, it is because we got some very good beers. There's a lot of up and coming breweries out here. But as far as everything else, no, that's not the mindset anywhere out this way.
You don't have like a Better Made or a Verner's or a Sanders.
We really don't. And no one really cares about that either. And even just here, you go to Nevada, New Mexico, you go to California, it's all the same. No one's always worried about that. It's like that's really a thing really centric to Detroit that most people don't understand or don't get. And I've never understood it either. I mean, I get wanting to buy local instead of from a chain, but there's a breaking point where you got to be like, all right, stop being so hyper focused on one thing. And that's kind of like how it is out here.
I think it needs to be given the opportunity. If you have the opportunity, obviously, I think you should support and buy local. I know for me, like I've purchased in times of need, I've definitely not like purchased big chain but when we bought all the glassware and all of the shirts and stuff like that, like I bought local because I'm like, oh, well, I don't need this tomorrow. Whereas there are times where I've procrastinated and I got to go to 5-hour teas now or 1-hour teas or whatever out of Chicago.
I'll give you a perfect example. You've had Kilt Lifter when you're out here. It's a pretty
Oh
good
yeah,
beer.
it's a great beer.
They're owned by Anheuser-Busch. They bought Four Peaks years ago, and people won't buy their beer because of that. It's one of the biggest selling beers out here, but the snobs won't buy it because Anheuser-Busch bought them. But they'll also go line up and buy a BCBS as soon as it drops. They're there at the store on Good Friday.
We see that all the time,
Or
though.
Good Friday,
here.
Black
It's I mean, Black Friday is a Good Friday.
Yeah, true.
We see that.
Sorry.
No, you're not.
Rob,
no,
you're
you're
cut
not.
off.
I was gonna say, is that Buffalo Trace going to your head already?
Oh no. There's still so much left. I mean, I'm just sitting here just sipping on it.
Well, talking about buying local, Wendy, you had mentioned that the Ascension release happened, but how long were their beers available?
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
3
minutes they sold out. Yep, I got
crazy.
Was it an online sale?
Yes.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, the same thing happened with No Rules, though. I logged on at 11 o'clock. I had an issue with my PayPal, so I went and actually got my credit card. And by the time I checked out, the first variant was already gone.
Oh.
Yeah, they weren't doing anything like
By 11:20.
they weren't doing anything like a Ticketmaster where you pick the beers and it was okay. You now have 5 minutes. They had said in the Q&A that it's on order by order. Once you order it, you have it. If it's sitting in there waiting to be purchased, you don't have it. And you're right, yourself included. A lot of people got caught in it. What's his name? Mark Donkers in the Booze Brothers group. This was basically, he had given up on No Rules from last year when we did the No Rules event, and he was waiting in line. He ended up not getting any of the variants despite having been there since up to like 8 o'clock in the morning. And they were Perrin was doing the thing where they were putting it at a 6-bottle limit on the variants, and all the variants were gone by the time he got up there in line. And he basically said, I'm never doing this again. Obviously come to this year to purchase online, and I had said, if you buy it, I'll go pick it up for you. He tried to do the same thing, and he ended up getting 0. So it's like the only thing that he might have ordered some of the regular bottles, but he got none of the variants. And yeah, the online stuff is, as far as the sales, has been nuts. And I think it was you that posted it, Wendy, or somebody did, where I believe it was Adam that did a video after the sale and saying that they were not expecting how quick all of that was going to sell. And a lot of people were emailing him, sending messages on Facebook, and he did something today where he released X amount of cases of the lemon cream pie and the other beer. And it was for the members only to purchase.
Yep.
And then the remaining cases he is selling tomorrow, which as he said, he's going to put it at some set time. But the crazy thing with the online, at least for Ascension, that the sales are going pretty well. And I haven't seen how well Holmes's release has gone today, but they definitely, it sounded like they had some lines over there too. So it's like the online sales are going well, but I mean, it kind of goes back to Ken's point, is that it's not enough. I mean, it's not even enough to really break even. Between the beer sales, Ascension and Holmes losing more food sales than being in the facility. It's still a lot to try and make up for and break even.
Speaking of today and online sales, someone in the chat said today, just a little bit ago, that Hand Map Brewing in Battle Creek, this is Cassidy in the chat, they had a super soft opening today. So by super soft, I don't know to what extent, but
sounds flaccid.
It's
Whoa.
Man.
I mean,
it's that Buffalo Trace, man.
sorry. Shout out to my dad, Robert Jr. His birthday was a couple of days ago, so I think I am mentally channeling his
Wait, are you
inner
summoning
Richard
his
Pryor mind.
Hold on. You said your dad is Robert Jr.?
Yeah, he's Robert the Third.
He's the third.
I'm the third.
Oh, Jesus! I'm like, how is this even possible?
I am the
Oh my
third.
gosh. All right, so really, so getting back on track. So it looks like Hand Map's opening was all online, and they went through 700 cans in 2 hours. If that's any indication of a online sale, and they did it today during the middle of a pandemic.
Well, I think they probably have beer that they need to get rid of before it. As much as we make fun of IPAs and hops falling off, do you really want to wait to see when the pandemic ends if you have an IPA on draft or something like
No.
that? Or do you
No,
want
I
to
wouldn't
try to
wanna
at
wait.
least get rid of some of it? Open it, and if the thing is that you can now give the experience to these customers. Sure, they're not going to be able to enjoy it in the bar, but if they like your beer, and I mean, this is probably the hardest thing ever, because there are many times where I've continued to go to bars and breweries because of the atmosphere over the drinks or over the beers. I mean, that bar in Madison Heights, the Mad Club. We don't necessarily go there because of the beer that they had. We
You don't
went
go
there
there for the $1.75 PBR.
Well,
I mean,
that's that we went there for the
Quarter
atmosphere.
hams.
Sounds good.
The quarter hams, the Vegas Club.
Oh,
I tell you
boy.
what, I am scared because obviously I'm thinking this is going to put a damper on the construction of the brand new casino in downtown Vegas, or excuse me, the Strip Vegas. No, not the Strip, downtown.
It's
I was correct the
downtown.
first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I am scared because I want to go see it. I want to go see because it's the same people, the same guy who owns the D is building this. And you could tell that because there's this giant outdoor TV where there's like a swimming pool, and it's a photo of like the Lions playing on the fake TV.
Oh, heavens,
boy.
no.
So it's
Are
a
they
Detroit
winning?
person.
Rob, we all know the answer to that
Hey.
question, and it's no.
Remember
Hey,
after
just so you are aware, I have been watching NFL Game Pass, and I have every Lions game that I watch is a game of them winning.
I mean, you could
Do
probably
you
certainly
choose
hope
the
so.
games to watch?
Yes,
Yeah.
except for when they played the Steelers, because I had to watch that one because I love watching that ass whooping.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
Oh God, there was
Speaking-
was
really
that the
quickly-
Go on,
Oh,
Nick.
go ahead, Ken. No, I was
No,
going to
no.
say, speaking of football, did you hear about the XFL folded today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Man, that's too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it was already. I mean, you can't kill what was already dead.
I disagree this year. If we're talking about the year before, maybe, or the season before, but this year they were doing really good.
They were doing
just
pretty
got
good.
derailed.
They
I
had
think
a
a lot of rules need to be picked up by the NFL, or at least looked at.
Yeah, the point rules, the kickoff, definitely the kickoff rule.
Yep.
The kickoff was pretty damn good.
The 2-minute
Um,
warning is amazing.
Yeah,
You can't just have teams like sack the game because the other team's out of timeouts, which is great. That's something
Mhm.
that they should look into.
yeah.
Anyways, enough
Yeah.
about football.
well.
Yeah, enough sports.
Sports.
Sorry, go ahead, Ken.
The
I
lack
mean, there
thereof.
there used to be
Yeah.
episodes of this show where it'd be
There
like
did.
half sports, half. It's speaking of Matt Bush, who's in the chat talking about super soft birthdays. The trade Dylan Larkin episode. Remember that one with
Oh,
the?
yeah.
Oh,
we just
geez.
showed-
Was that the
no.
drunk where we got
Yes.
drunk on
Yes, it was, Daniel.
on Hop
It was.
Slam? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that
And-
was.
and-
I think it was opening day. I think was the same day, and the guy came out and
The hockey guy.
Yeah, the hockey
Yeah. Oh,
guy.
Hockey guy.
He was so mad. And definitely a shout out to Matt Bush as right now I've now cracked open an Ascension Brewing crispy department in happy bless you, number one.
Yeah.
And, and
That was my wife sneezing.
It's amazing.
Bless you,
It's a
Tara.
great episode.
Oh my God! I thought that was your dog.
No, my dog's
And-
sneeze isn't that loud.
and this beer a definite though it's not his birthday, a happy birthday to Matt Bush because it's a Kolsch. And
I
you know,
tell you what, I wish I had purchased when I went. I think the goal is to try to make the beer that I purchased a few weeks ago last me throughout the end of May, which is very, very doable as long as I drank a little bit more of the liquor that I have, because I have plenty of liquor. I still have a bottle of Aquavit from Seattle from like 6 or 8 months ago. Well, it's you guys know I don't drink that much at home, so the stuff kind of
Right.
just sits. Like I'm looking to my right, I still have a box. I have the 2019 set of Griffin Claw Flying Buffalo and a 2018 set of Griffin Claw Flying Buffalo.
Nice.
I guess with the rules and the stay at home changing,
There
I
are
guess
no
for all
rules.
of you. Well, yeah, of course there are no
Especially
rules.
when you're drinking claws, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
especially
there's-
when
Oh no, there are no
claws.
laws when you're drinking the claws.
Oh, yeah,
That's
you're
right.
Laws when you
Right.
drink claws, yeah.
But with everything changing now, and the order being extended, some more restrictions that are happening, do any of you feel that you guys are going to be drinking more in the coming weeks?
You know, as a personal part, and I'll mention this real quick. Whenever I go through life trauma, so this is literally my second layoff of market. I worked for a bank in 2009, got laid off from Flagstar, and I hold no ill will to them, even though I should. Still have the same account I had for like I'm at like 13 or 14 years now. Um, so this is like my divorce. Like I don't drink during these times. So like today, like this is the first like today's the first day I've been drinking since that. Where a lot of people will go to booze, I on the other hand steer clear from it. Now in regards to the pandemic and everything like that, I was definitely having a little bit more like I was having more nightcaps just because my days were a little more, weird. Like I wasn't leaving to go anywhere or going back, but what I've been doing since I've been home, and I don't know about you guys, I've been riding my bike a lot. Like I set a goal for myself to do 100 miles this month. And it's not that much, but it's a start.
It's a start, yeah.
So
my bike's in a storage pod, so unfortunately, so
yeah, you also
I
don't
don't
have
know
too
where
many
my bike is.
you don't have too many sidewalks out there.
no, I do have. There is a subdivision, like literally, like right across the street that I could, drive. And I come to find out that where Garfield Road should be, they did like a sidewalk through there. So it's a nice little path that you can cut through between 24 and 25 mile. Too far north for Dan and for Rob's taste.
Well, yeah, 14 miles is the cutoff when I'm out there. I don't cross that. to
But
save my
there's-
life.
But I did find that since I've kind of moved in with the in-laws, that there's that subdivision with a path that goes in between the mile road. So that's kind of cool. But again, no bike until whenever I move into the new house.
So before I ask, so Greg in the chat saying he drinks less, but he's been hitting his cellar beers. I want to mention, so remember that draft top thing?
Yes.
I'm easily 2 for 2, as you can tell by my
Look-
2 cans
look at
right
that.
here.
Look at you.
So it took a little bit of learning. It was not as easy, but I think everyone needed to figure it out, or I needed to figure out like the right torque, like the right grip
Yeah.
strength to use for sure. Like Wendy, do you see yourself drinking a lot while you're at home now? Or I mean, it's probably a little bit different since you take care of your grandma a lot. Or
Yeah,
no,
I
you
do
drink
find that
more because of
instead
that.
of having one before I go to bed, I'll have 2, sometimes 3.
Okay.
It does a little bit, but not usually 3, but a little bit. I did write out a list of mixers that I needed to go with the little bit of liquor that I do have here. Because I realized I was going through my beer cellar and found a couple of bottles. I'm like, oh, I could probably drink those, but I don't want to drink them straight.
Well, let's.
It's like a bottle of gold Bacardi.
Oh, okay, maybe.
Oh, man.
What?
So,
What?
I added some frozen strawberries to the grocery list, things like that.
Rob, what about you? I know you obviously your dynamic's a little bit different because you got kids at home.
Yeah, and most of the time, I pretty much I don't drink around them. I try to keep it away as much as possible. I mean, they are aware that obviously they're aware that I do a beer podcast, so they're aware that I do drink alcohol. Everybody's aware. I'm the only one in the house who does drink alcohol.
You're drinking enough for everyone, huh?
So I'm probably drinking. There's enough for me, and it's enough. But
It's until he
you know-
opens up his vodka and realizes that it tastes a little watered down.
Oh,
Oh, that we will not talk about situations like that happening in past relationships, 'cause those are fun with teenage boys, and putting vodka in the freezer and then it freezing
Gosh.
and then them denying that they drank it. It's like I passed science class, kid. I know what happens with vodka in the freezer, and I know what happens with water in the freezer.
That took me a lot longer to figure out because I didn't realize you put it in the freezer and then it froze because it's water. It took me way too long to figure that out. Because
well, well, go ahead.
I was gonna say when I was a kid, at least, like I would never try to fill up the booze that I drank while because my parents had this small little liquor cabinet in the basement, and every once in a while I'd go down and mix myself a 7 and 7 or a vodka and 7. Well, I mean, you're also only like I'm only 14 or 15 at this time, so
Yeah.
I ain't drinking beer. I had beer. I had that one. Do you guys ever watch the movie Chef with Jon Favreau and
That was a very good movie.
the guy
I've
who
not seen that yet.
the guy who plays Luigi in the Mario Brothers movie?
John Leguizamo?
John Leguizamo, yeah. So Jon Favreau's character gives his son beer and he hates it. And it's like, that's all right, never drink that shit again. And that's how I felt the first time I ever drank beer.
Oh, I hated beer.
Most people have that first reaction.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What did you have? What was your first beer you tried?
Budweiser.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I was 16 or 17 and met the guy to my left on the video here, and or my right, I should say, Dan. And yeah, you're a bad influence, that's for sure.
I know I am. I don't deny that at all. Shit, I ruined my wife too. She used to not drink beer. Now she wants barrel-aged stouts nonstop.
Nice.
So Bill Carney, our map writer, is saying that he is drinking a lot more. Cassidy in the chat. Again, you guys can join us, facebook.com/BetterOnDraft. Join us in the chat. Cassidy is saying that they're using the time to brew at home and stock up for the summer. I still think I'm going to buy myself a homebrew kit here soon with the extra time that I have. I can start home brewing, that's for sure. Dina in the chat is saying she still hates beer.
Of course she does. She does.
And kind of scrolling up and catching up with the rest of the chat. Justin says Dan Cook loves sours but is afraid to admit it.
Oh, fuck sours. I'm not even going to beat around the bush on that one.
Would you beat around the Matt Bush?
No, I'm good.
He's too busy fighting with brewed IPAs.
And Cassidy also says in the chat in regards to the hand map soft opening, they had their beer ready to go for an opening scheduled to the end of the March, but because that blew up in a hurry, the Nance is their favorite beer. It's a hibiscus lager. I'm going to assume it is a Stranger Things reference because that's the only thing I can think of that is Nance.
What about Jim Nance from CBS?
It could be Jim Nance from CBS.
Maybe.
I'm sorry, we got 2 hours of content we have to fill here. I don't know.
I don't think you're sorry at all. One thing before we take a break, and this is so we for those of you who don't know, we use a document that kind of like talks about all the news and articles and stuff we want to talk about. And Wendy talked about in her little statement that she, the beer delivery is nice, which obviously she got from her beer fairy, but she is missing the bar. What is it about the bar that you miss? What are you missing about the people, the atmosphere? Like, what is it?
That's it.
The people, the atmosphere. All right.
Getting to sit down and talk to you, like you make friends with the people that are serving you beer, and just getting to chat with them. I miss all those people. We played trivia every Wednesday, so we saw them at least once a week. I miss that a lot.
Just those community tables and just having all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a long ways into this now. When did you guys close down as far as all the bars and everything?
Like 3 weeks ago?
Was it 3?
Honestly, it was the last time I went out, and it was right before, is when Letterkenny came to the Masonic.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm bringing up that date right now. It looks like March 10th?
March 24th.
We're about the same.
Well, that was the stay-at-home order.
That was the stay-at-home. They'd already closed down the breweries for anything except takeout at that point.
That's the day they closed down all the bars here too. So it's been 3 weeks, over 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks now for everyone. It's starting to drag on, and we're not even close to the end of this.
Yep, and I mean, I was in Seattle just a month ago, a little less, a little more, somewhere around there. I can't remember the dates exactly. But like when I was in Seattle, that was when you're talking about community. You're talking about people talk, like talking and talking to each other, making new friends, conversation. Because you could tell when people are at the bar by them, not necessarily by themselves. They're there to have a beer. That's their community bar. That's where they want to go before they go home. So they're very available to talk, and a lot of people, that's everybody's mind was talking about like the coronavirus. And in Seattle, it was huge because that was one of the hotbeds, and that's just what was on everyone's mind, and how a lot of people had started or stopped, I should say, stopped going places, and it was starting to hit them very slowly without any actual, not I mean, you could say laws, executive orders, regulations, whatever the technical legal term you want to talk about. They were having those issues prior, and now, uh, now we're here and we're kind of in this together.
Mhm.
But it's been about 40 minutes since we've been live. We are going to take a quick break. As always, our segments are sponsored by the Ferndale Set. This is Brother Son. We'll be right back with the Better on Draft podcast.
I'm headed for the city, trouble in my mind. I'm way too young and pretty for things to be unkind. Time is all we have now, so let's make something while we can. I'm headed for the city, make me start again. Conversation now and then, gotta go, gotta get it. Don't make things go south, baby. Started to dictate, make it in this life. Time is all we have now, so let's make something while we can. I'm headed for the city to make me start again. Conversation now and then, gotta go, gotta get it. Don't make things go south, baby.
And we are back. Better on Draft 214. Thank you so much for joining us in the chat. We appreciate you all drinking with us. Tell us what you're drinking. Josh Bradley in the chat says, does it count if drinking bourbon? Of course it counts. We don't care what you're drinking as long as you're enjoying the evening.
Yes. Yes.
Robert says yes. Kind of catching up on the chat before we went to break. Keith Rayner said he started 14 gallons of mead. I'd hope that started making 14 gallons and not drinking 14 gallons. Liz Darnell says Liz Darnell says that she misses all their favorite bartenders and brewers. Dina says dive bars are the best. I 100% agree. I think that's why we kind of like the Mad Club. It's got that kind of divey, cheap,
really
easy feel.
Shout out to Lager House.
Cindy George says the people make the atmosphere. I agree. You know what I love about very like I want a little something extra when I go somewhere. So it could be a touch those touch tones games or whatever the hell they're called. I know I can't tell you how many times I've gone to like a bar like what's that bar in Ferndale, the Irish bar. Danny's, there you go.
Such a great place.
How many times have we gone to Danny's and played like that touch game where like we're trying to find the difference between the two screens?
Oh yeah, I thought you were talking about the touch tunes. Like how many times we played Spice Girls?
Oh, that's all the time.
Or Iron Butterfly.
Well, the Spice Girls want to be to bet on how fast they turn it off. The Iron Butterfly is to troll and see how long they'll let it play.
Play through the drum solo that lasts like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's what is that the first or the second drum solo, or is it the organ solo? Yeah. But
either way.
But here's the thing too: is that when we're doing those types of things, how many people are going to want to do physically interactive things at bars? Just because I think a lot of people are a little bit more germ conscious. You're probably going to get a lot of more of those. What are those like hypochondriacs? That are going to be coming out of this virus. You know, I think a lot of people are going to realize. I think a lot of people are going to start going to the bars more because I think once we've taken that away from people, I think they'll start going to those community style nights. And what I say by that is pub trivia, karaoke, 90s music video night by DJ Benny.
Every Sunday.
These are kinds of things that bring the same crowds every week, bring the same people every week. You know, you build that kind of rapport, and when you lose that interaction with people, you know, as much as I was at Kroger today, like I haven't interacted with anyone for, you know, over a month except for digitally or except for my girlfriend. So when you have these types of the small concerts, local concerts, you don't have those types of things to where I think a lot of people are itching for it, missing it. And I think a lot of people have realized, oh, wow, this was taken away from me. I don't want that taken away anymore. Dan mentioned before we went to break about what was that brewery that made the glitter beer?
Oh, that's Oso out here in the Phoenix area.
So we went to Oso, didn't we, when I went out there?
I don't think we did. I'm trying to remember, but I don't think we went there. We went to Fates, and we went to the shop.
We went to 7 places.
Did we?
Yeah. Remember that day we were walking around and we went to like 49th State or whatever, or 40.
Oh, State 48.
State 48.
Yeah. Oh, we went to Mother Bunch. You're right. We went to, but we never made it to Oso because there wasn't one near where we went to.
I think there's this that. I think the sense of community is what a lot of us are missing. Like if you went to North Center Brewing over in Northville, Michigan, just south of Baseline Road, you know, you could play some shuffleboard over there, or you could play pub trivia with Antonio. Is Antonio still the pub trivia host prior to this?
Antonio is still the trivia host there every Wednesday.
Just making sure. I don't know if it got
when
changed.
they get back to it. But no, I mean, it's like you said, is that, you know, and actually there was a comment in the chat from Gord, which Dean and I had actually talked about it in, you know, whether or not the handshake is dead. You know, you talk about all of these normal, these social norms that we're used to doing before all of this happened. And when we're itching to get back to doing these things of going out to the bar and maybe playing a mega touch or just hanging out, that are we actually going to go back to handshakes, or are we just going to basically do the foot touch from fucking Kid and Play,
Play?
Or the elbow.
in House Party? Or we're going to do like the elbow with like the hook elbow, like the
fist bump.
Hey, the elbow thing drives me nuts because the CDC tells us to sneeze into our elbow, and then they're going to tell us to touch elbows instead. Come on, be consistent.
You want to just tap shoes and just do a quick kick, tap each other's shoes, and boom. I mean, if you want to do the full Kid and Play dance and you go that far, then hey, that might be the new hug. We don't know.
Might be the new hug. Yeah, it's true.
Greg Feltner in the chat. I'm gonna say Greg Feltner in the chat says the bow is the new handshake.
Hey, we could be the vapors and turn Japanese. I mean, that could happen too.
I love that song so bad.
I'm going to make my prediction, you guys, and then I'll go over to you guys. We'll go one by one if you agree or not. But I think officially it's not going to be the elbows or the Kid and Play. I think we're going to go straight to the head nod. I think it's going to be a declaration of a up or a
the old nod, yeah.
like a hey,
up nod. Hey, what up?
Well,
you got the up nod. It's got to be the up nod for sure.
There's rules of that. There's rules of that. It's always a down nod if it's someone you don't know, and it's an up nod if it's somebody you do know.
I had no idea there were rules to this.
Rules?
I don't.
Wait, since when?
Hold on a second, because all I'm thinking about is all the times that I've like I'm riding on my bike and I've always done a down nod, and every time I see like a friend across the hall, it's because I think the up nods, you're like, hey, what's up? Like you're trying to get attention, or the down nods, hey, I acknowledge you. Hey, what's up?
Yeah, that is a long-standing rule.
I had no
always
idea.
Been that way.
Maybe that's why strangers talk to me all the time.
In the chat room, guys, it's blowing up. We appreciate it. Again, facebook.com/betterondraft.
Keep the chat coming.
Let's kind of go over
eyebrow.
Well, yeah, I saw John Rasinski ask me for the people's eyebrow. I definitely can't do it. I'm not going to try.
Yeah.
Can any of you guys do the people's eyebrow?
Oh no.
No. Okay.
No, I can give like this weird look of constipation. So I mentioned what everyone was drinking. So I've got a Leroy from Rochester Mills, a brown ale. Nick, what are you drinking right now?
I switched to IPAs, and I'm now on Petoskey Brewing Hopcest. They're double IPA.
Wendy?
I opened up the BDE from Ascension, but I also have a Downey Brewing LCA on deck.
Ooh, Downey Brewing, man.
It's a 3-night.
I feel like that's the thing that I'm missing is that all these places that I took for granted, like, oh, I can go there anytime I want. Yeah. I don't have, you know what? I got a $50 gift card right there. It's actually like kind of right up here in my closet. I think the first day that it's open, a Friday or a Saturday night, probably Saturday, because I don't know if you guys know, but Fridays we do a podcast.
No, really?
But on a Saturday night,
Friday afternoon, right now. What are you talking about?
On a Saturday night, I think I might just go there and just spend $50 on whoever's there.
And I was gonna say, and then drive home.
No, I'm trying to be charitable here.
I'm really excited because here in the Beer Wasteland, I now have 3 breweries that will deliver to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
If they
Rob,
have beer.
did you just pop that bottle?
So
Pop that bottle.
Rob is over here. Rob, what are you drinking?
I'm on the can right now, and this comes from my buddies up north. Shout out to Mike and Jamie LeBeau, all the way out in Ironwood, way up north. Basically kissing the Wisconsin border. It's from Cold Iron Brewing. It's the Drift North IPA. So that's what I'm drinking right now. This sucker is a simple an IPA flavored IPA at 6.9%.
IPA flavored IPA. Okay. Are we officially out of ideas?
Hey, it's like it's like that. It's kind of an older Dennis Leary joke about.
I was gonna say,
coffee-flavored coffee.
is this a coffee flavored coffee, IPA flavored
Yes.
IPA? Dan, what do you got going on over there? It's only 5 o'clock.
It's only 5 o'clock. I'm like 3 beers in though.
That's the one thing I miss about going out there. It's like I could go out there and visit my dad and my sister during football season.
Oh yeah.
Watch Monday Night Football and still have time to go to Best Buy after the game.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's the best part about being out here. But I've
Football
got
starts at
a
10.
Why Best Buy?
I got a Big Hugs
know.
Imperial Coffee Stout from Half Acre. I don't know. It's kind of good. It's the
Oh.
first time I've ever had it.
Nice.
Wendy, have you had it? You said, oh.
I like the half acre.
Gotcha.
think
That's
it's
out
good
of
stuff.
Chicago, isn't it? Yeah, I remember going there
Yeah.
on one of my many trips for work, and I remember being very severely disappointed because all they had was 84 different pale ales or IPAs or I was a little upset. I also may have been like the 6th brewery I was at because it's right off of Malt Row. It's not on Malt Row, but it's off of Malt Row. Secondly, very upset that the cider bar that used to be like right around the corner from there too closed. And I think we need a good cider bar out there. I think ciders, what do you guys, and we'll kind of go around the horn. I'll start with Rob here in a second, so I'll give you some time to think. What do you guys think is going to be the beer or the drink of choice coming out of this? I think the low hanging fruit's obviously the lager, because I think a lot of breweries are lagering a beer right now because that's all you can't really sell everything.
Right.
What do you like? I know a lot of people want to think that the seltzer is going to be dead, which I think the seltzer is only going to thrive because of this.
It's yeah. I mean, we already talked about that. I mean, the seltzers are going to thrive because they're cheaper than going to. I mean, obviously we want to support the local breweries, but I guess in the end of the day, when it comes down to wanting to be able to drink, but drink financially more financially stable, it's cheaper to get the seltzers and get a 30 or 32 pack of 5% seltzers as opposed to paying $20 to $25 for a 6-pack of 6 to 7% IPAs or stout that you may get from a craft brewery.
But here's the thing is that we've mentioned it, and I want to say it was the Jack and Shannon episode when we talked about ABV per dollar. Do you think that because at that time you guys all thought I was crazy talking about purchasing beer ABV per dollar? But do you think that's going to be a change, or do you think that's just an added bonus that you're thinking of?
I kind of think kind of both. I mean, I think it's an added bonus because some people that are going to be out here are going to be thinking, I'm stuck in my house. What the fuck else I'm going to do? I'm going to get fucked up. So if I can get fucked up cheaper, then I'll do that, and I can keep doing that more.
Well, so Wendy shook her head no, and then shook her head yes when you mentioned about getting fucked up staying at home. What's your opinion on this? Because you weren't. I don't think you were there for the ABV for dollar conversation. So I'll let you kind of. Oh, okay.
Actually,
I drink a lot.
That's my excuse too.
We did drink a lot that show. No, we didn't because it was it was in February, wasn't it?
Well,
Or
if it was
January,
February,
we
I
were
would have
doing
drank. February, I don't know.
When we were doing the no.
No, because it was
Dry
Dry
January.
because the Shan if it was
Because I
the-
did moist January.
If it was Shannon and Jack, then yeah, it would have been a dry
Yeah,
January
because they
episode.
brought-
This is January.
Yeah, it was.
because I wasn't on that
there.
episode.
Oh, I would have drank in front of you, Ken. I'd have been
Oh,
like, yeah.
Jack was drinking, and
Oh yeah.
that's the definite. That's where we came up with moist January, where you kind of just cut back a little bit
It's
on.
not moist.
What was it? Damp
Moist.
January.
Damn.
No,
January.
I like moist January a lot better. I should use that
No,
one.
we ixnayed moist. We voted on it.
I guess maybe we need alliteration and make it moist March.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Well, that kind of happened.
yeah, yeah, it did.
So I do agree with the I've got nothing else to do, so let's get fucked up. But
Yeah.
I don't know that that's necessarily like even now I still don't drink to get drunk. I drink because I want to try all the different beers.
Mhm.
So I don't know that that is necessarily going to change things because I don't have anywhere to go. I do tend to go for that last one. So I guess that was why I shook my head no and then yes at the same time.
Well, so
I think, and I mean, it kind of just goes to, really, I think just really a person's own financial stability. And if somebody's out there
Yeah.
who's like, the bartender or somebody who has a side job that's paying some but not enough, but still wants to be able to drink, to those who might actually be working like myself, being in a engine manufacturing position where there's a possibility that I might get a pay cut or I might get laid off, that I want to make sure that I'm still doing what I want to do, but be a little bit more financially responsible about it, despite the fact that even doing it isn't really financially responsible anyway. But I guess, I'll take the, for some people, they'll take the lesser of two evils, I guess. Whereas there being somebody else who definitely is secure in their job and being able to go out and go to Ascension, go to Ferndale Project, go to Supernatural, and just keep buying those beers that they absolutely love. That there's it's kind of like we've got two sets of people, and they're both out there. It's just which one's going to go for the claws, and which one's going to go for the craft.
Well, Liz in the chat says that people are going to stick with the styles that they love, but the increased ABV will be an extra perk. For me, when I talk about how much I'm going to drink or what I'm going to drink or anything like that, the ABV does come into effect depending on a lot of factors. If I'm driving or not. If I'm not driving and I'm looking for a good quick buzz, then sure, I'm just gonna drink whatever the fuck's in my liquor cabinet that's pretty cheap and easy. If I'm looking to drink for the whole night, maybe a good barrel aged beer, and I'm talking not like something that's sweet and easy to drink, like something like Dragon's Milk is a very easy to drink beer that you're gonna get drunk with really fast. Whereas like one of my
grab that too.
one of my favorite long-term beers, and what I mean by long-term is that I'm going to drink it over a session, is that if I can get a 750 or 23 or whatever they sell it in of Perrin's Big Grizz, I can make that last for 2 hours. And at that point, by the time I'm done, I've got a good buzz. I'm happy for the rest of the night. I don't need to drink anymore because I'm at that point of, and I think you guys may understand how I explain this, that point of drunkenness where either you go to the next level or you're done. And you make that decision. And usually I've made that decision where I'm like, hey, I'm all set. I'm good to go. I don't need to drink anymore. And that's how I feel when I get those bombers of anything that's barrel aged. Now, when I'm drinking here, like the problem is that, I'm drinking, like I've got right now, You Figure It Out from Griffin Claw. And I'm just kind of like continuously drinking, and it's not really, it's continuing my buzz, but it's not getting me to the next level, but it's also not sobering me up. So, I don't know where I was going on that tangent, but it just kind of happened.
No, I mean, no, again, and I've definitely had my fair share because, the other night I was definitely going through, and this actually, one of Greg Feltner's comments that he was talking about is that, to drink the cellar, in that, I started going into kind of I guess you could call it my rarer stuff. I know that there are far more rare beers that are out there than what I have in a house. But I was definitely kind of digging into the perennial Sump, which is one of the few that I could actually get a hold of. And, this is like one of those where it's just like, I want a bomber, and that will be it for the night. And I can be able to sip on this for a good 2 hours, mess around, and do my geeky shit like watch anime or play Final Fantasy VII, and not have to fuck with anybody but this bottle and my game or my show. So
Still waiting for my copy to come in, by the way, Ron.
Oh, you
Still
guys in your Final Fantasy VII. The game's like
Hold
20
on.
years old.
yeah,
I
and then they
decided to do-
remade it, and it just came
Yeah.
out yesterday.
Yeah, you know what? Final Fantasy 15 is like a better version of that. Go play that. It's a lot more fun.
I already did. Already beat it. Bring me the remake.
Rob,
Right.
look at the people in that game and look at me. What game do you think I'm gonna like?
Brutal Legend.
Yeah, true. Wendy, you were gonna say something?
Oh yeah, I decided to do mead day
Oh yeah.
over the weekend, and I had one that was given to me as a sample by my bottle shop, and it was okay. So I went through the cellar and I found a black dragon, I think, from the west side of the state, and they have a mead that's amazing. But I got through one bottle in like 4 hours and couldn't drink anything else that day.
That's a lot. And I knew
Mead?
you were talking about meads, but for some reason I thought you were going to say Black Tuesday for a second there.
Oh, last time I drank Black Tuesday, I don't know what happened. That was that Roke day.
we
years
ended up
ago.
at Roke.
Yeah, we ended
Yes.
up in the back room at Roke. That's right.
When I did my huge purchase, I actually brought back a mead from St. Ambrose over in Beulah, and it was I was very, very happy with that type of sizer that they pushed out over there. But I think, like, for me, like, when I'm drinking meads, like, I'm definitely drinking a lot slower, and in regards
Definitely.
to, like, this type of position, like, I'm not going to get drunk off of meads because I'm not drinking it fast enough. It's just too sweet for me. Like,
They're too sweet to drink a
Right.
lot of them.
Yeah.
exactly. And I mean, even those, like, Punk Lemonade, which is a mead from Bee Nectar, like, I can
Really good too.
yeah, I can definitely take a lot of those down. But in the same sense, even though if I'm trying to drink them really fast and, not trying to drink them to get drunk, but drinking them on the same pace, like, I still just can't drink them that fast. Like, it's just so sweet. So it's the same with wine too. Like, I can't drink. Mind you, I've definitely gotten wine drunk recently, but
This afternoon.
Oh.
no.
A couple hours ago.
Yeah.
I did so it wasn't even me. We went to go see a friend who was doing a go live, meaning like first day open, for a restaurant in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And it was like a pop-up wine area outdoors, and we went there. We had our toast garb on, and the owner gave us like wristbands that allowed us for free wine, and that's all I remember.
Oh,
See, that's the kind of crap that gets me in trouble. I can't be around stuff like that.
See, for me, when I drink at places where I need to not be drunk, I know how to exit really fast and just GTF out, because I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do that. I know this was a short little break, but we will be right back. We're going to be playing a game during segment 3, so I will let our guys get their phones ready. It'll be about 8:30 Eastern when we come back. We'll be right back with the Better on Draft podcast.